How many secrets does this world hide? How many ancient civilizations have vanished into oblivion, leaving only whispers of their knowledge in myths and enigmas? One such secret is buried in the heart of the Pacific Ocean, deep within the islands of the Caroline Archipelago, where on the island of Pohnpei, shrouded by dense jungles, lies Nan Madol, a city so mysterious, it feels almost unreal. For most, Nan Madol is merely a relic of the past, an intriguing sight for archaeologists and tourists alike. But what if it's not just a forgotten civilization? What if Nan Madol is more than that? What if it holds the key to a forgotten realm of knowledge, a consciousness waiting to be remembered? The legends of Nan Madol have long drawn us into the realm of the mystical. The city was built with a unique form of architecture, a labyrinth of giant stone blocks, seemingly untouched by time. But here's the curious thing. No one knows exactly how these enormous stones were moved and placed. The tools of our modern world cannot explain how a people so long ago could have achieved such feats of engineering. But if we look at it from another angle, what if these structures weren't just physical buildings, but energetic vessels? What if Nan Madol was not simply a city, but a sacred site, carefully designed to align matter and spirit? We are accustomed to thinking of our civilization as the pinnacle of progress. But what if the civilization of Nan Madol possessed knowledge and powers that far surpassed our own? Knowledge that has since been buried under layers of misconceptions, myths, and forgotten truths. There is something inherently strange about Nan Madol that calls us to look beyond the surface. Its name alone sends a ripple through the collective psyche. There is a spark of recognition, a deep-seated feeling that we have encountered this place before, in dreams, in memories, in ancient whispers. Yet mainstream historians dismiss the city as just another relic of a primitive people, no different from other lost cities scattered across the world. But here's where the story takes a different turn. The mainstream narrative wants you to believe that Nan Madol was just a city of stone and water, a place lost to time and nature. But what if the true mystery of Nan Madol wasn't about the physical city at all? What if it was about the consciousness that once resided there, a consciousness deeply connected to the earth, the cosmos, and the unseen realms? As we dive deeper into the mystery of Nan Madol, we must ask ourselves not just how the city was built, but why it was built. What was its purpose? Who were the people who called it home? And what do the secrets of this lost city reveal about the potential that lies dormant within each of us? The answers are hidden in plain sight. To uncover them, we must look beyond the physical ruins, beyond the stories passed down through generations. We must listen to the call of the city, buried beneath layers of history and myth. Only then can we begin to understand that the mystery of Nan Madol is not just about a lost city. It's about the forgotten power of a civilization that knew something we are only beginning to remember. Deep in the heart of the Pacific, nestled within the remote archipelago of Pohnpei, there exists a city unlike any other, a city that seems more myth than reality. This is Nan Madol, an ancient site that stirs the imagination of those who come upon it, both in awe and in wonder. It rises from the waters as though it was meant to be more than just a city, more than a place of civilization. It is a sacred enigma. But what is it about the physical structure of Nan Madol that compels such reverence? Could the answer lie in the way it was built? Or is there a deeper spiritual meaning hidden within its very design? The city's layout is as mysterious as the stories that surround it. Nan Madol is often referred to as the Venice of the Pacific because of its network of artificial islands, connected by canals and surrounded by the vast, ever-present ocean. The city is composed of nearly 100 islets, each connected by a series of narrow, winding waterways. At first glance, it seems like a water-bound labyrinth, a city with no clear path or easy way in or out. But this very labyrinth is not a flaw, it is a purposeful design, one that hints at a deeper connection between the land, the water, and the unseen forces that govern them. What is most extraordinary about Nan Madol is the manner in which it was constructed. The city is built with massive basalt stone blocks, many of which weigh several tons. These stones are perfectly cut, fit together with precision, and are stacked in a way that seems almost unnatural. The sheer scale of the construction is staggering. How could a people, without the benefit of advanced tools or machinery, have achieved such a feat? Mainstream historians suggest that these stones were transported and placed using primitive methods, but there are gaps in the narrative. The construction of Nan Madol could not have been accomplished simply with human strength and rudimentary tools. This fact leads us to question, was there something more at play? Was there a deeper understanding of energy, matter, and frequency that guided the builders of this city? What if these stone blocks weren't just physical structures, but sacred vessels designed to interact with the Earth's energies, attuned to a higher frequency? Consider the possibility that the city itself was designed not just as a place of living, but as a spiritual tool. The architects of Nan Madol may have known that certain geometry, certain alignments of stone and water could create powerful energetic fields. The placement of the stones could have been deliberate, not only to harness the natural forces of the earth, but also to amplify certain vibrations, allowing those who inhabited the city to experience a higher state of consciousness. In this view, the city becomes less of a settlement and more of an energetic temple. The canals that weave through Nan Madol also hold a special significance. Water has long been considered a conduit for spiritual energy, a medium that connects the physical world with the unseen. The waterways of Nan Madol may have been more than just a means of transport. They could have been channels designed to direct and amplify specific energy frequencies. Water, in many ancient cultures, is seen as a purifying element, capable of clearing negative energies and balancing spiritual forces. Could these canals have been created to serve this very purpose, to cleanse and to attune? Looking at the larger picture, we begin to see Nan Madol not as just a city of stone, but as a site deeply connected to the forces of the earth and the cosmos. Its architecture may not only have been an expression of artistic genius, but a manifestation of spiritual wisdom, where every stone, every channel of water, every alignment was meticulously planned to tune into the frequency of the earth and the universe. It is impossible to deny that there is a profound sense of sacredness in the very fabric of Nan Madol. The scale and complexity of the city suggest a level of knowledge that transcends what we understand about ancient civilizations. The fact that this city has remained so well preserved despite the ravages of time and nature further suggests that it was not just built to last, but to endure, perhaps as a message waiting to be deciphered. But the question remains, who were the people who built Nan Madol? What drove them to create such a mysterious and powerful city? And what knowledge did they possess that allowed them to channel energy through such an advanced architectural design? Could the city have been constructed to be a living, breathing monument, not just to physical achievement, but to spiritual ascension? As we continue to explore the mysteries of Nan Madol, we must look beyond the surface of the stones and canals. The city itself is a key that unlocks the secrets of a lost civilization, one that knew how to work with the earth, the water, and the very frequencies that govern our reality. When we look at Nan Madol, there's something deeply unsettling about its isolation. On one hand, it is a solitary monument to an ancient civilization that flourished on an island in the vast Pacific. On the other hand, it feels connected to something much larger, an ancient global network of knowledge, wisdom, and spiritual insight that spans across oceans, cultures, and millennia. This raises a crucial question. What if Nan Madol wasn't an isolated city at all? What if it was part of a much grander, interconnected civilization that stretched across the globe? The story of Nan Madol is not unique. Throughout the world, there are ancient cultures that tell of powerful, advanced civilizations that vanished long before the rise of the societies we know today. Legends of lost lands, mysterious people, and ancient technologies are found across cultures, from the lost city of Atlantis to the submerged continent of Lemuria to the great civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia. These stories echo one another across time and space, all pointing to a single truth: that there was once a global civilization whose wisdom and technology far surpassed what we understand today. The similarities between the myths of Nan Madol and other ancient civilizations are striking. For instance, the island of Nan Madol itself is surrounded by water, a motif that echoes the legends of Atlantis, the fabled sunken continent, and Lemuria, the land that once connected Asia, Africa, and the Pacific Islands. Both Atlantis and Lemuria are said to have been places of immense spiritual power, with advanced technologies that harmonize the physical world with the spiritual realm. Could Nan Madol be a remnant of such a civilization, one that managed to escape the catastrophic collapse that swallowed Atlantis and Lemuria? In the accounts of Atlantis, particularly in the writings of Plato, we learn of a civilization that was both technologically advanced and spiritually enlightened. Atlantis was described as a place where the material world and the spiritual world existed in perfect harmony. The Atlanteans were said to have had knowledge of energy, sound, and frequency wisdom that allowed them to manipulate the very fabric of the universe. This mirrors many of the theories about Nan Madol, where the city's architecture and construction suggest an advanced understanding of sacred geometry and energetic frequencies. The massive basalt stones of Nan Madol, for example, may not have been used merely for construction. They could have served as instruments for channeling energy or amplifying spiritual vibrations. Could the builders of Nan Madol have been attempting to recreate the harmony that once existed in Atlantis? Were they preserving a sacred knowledge passed down through the ages? In addition to Atlantis, the lost continent of Lemuria is often mentioned in spiritual and esoteric traditions. Lemuria, like Atlantis, is said to have been a land of enlightenment, where people lived in harmony with nature and the cosmos. It was a place of profound spiritual wisdom, where advanced beings cultivated a deep connection to the earth and the stars. Some spiritual traditions even claim that Lemurians were the precursors to the Polynesians and other Pacific Islanders, suggesting that Nan Madol might be a remnant of Lemuria's lost legacy. The idea that the ancient inhabitants of Pohnpei, the creators of Nan Madol, could have been direct descendants of this advanced civilization is a tantalizing one. Could they have carried with them the wisdom of Lemuria, adapting it to their environment and building a city that would survive the passage of time? When we look at Nan Madol through the lens of these ancient civilizations, a common thread emerges, sown of spiritual knowledge and mastery over natural forces. It seems that these ancient peoples were not simply concerned with survival or building empires as we are today. They were concerned with something much deeper: the cultivation of spiritual wisdom, the understanding of universal laws, and the ability to live in alignment with the frequencies that govern life itself. Nan Madol, with its intricate stonework, carefully designed canals, and powerful energy resonance, may have been an attempt to recreate or preserve this lost connection to the divine. But the connection between Nan Madol and other ancient civilizations isn't just found in their architecture, it also lies in their shared spiritual beliefs and practices. Many of these cultures, from the Egyptians to the Mayans to the indigenous peoples of the Pacific, believed in the existence of hidden or forgotten knowledge wisdom that had been passed down through the ages and concealed for a reason. In many traditions, this knowledge was said to have been guarded by the priests, shamans, and spiritual leaders who acted as intermediaries between the human realm and the divine. Who were the people who built Nan Madol? This question lies at the heart of the mystery that surrounds the city. Conventional history tells us that the island of Pohnpei was inhabited by ancient Micronesians, who, using the technology available at the time, managed to build an elaborate network of stone structures and canals. But is that really the full story? Could the builders of Nan Madol have been more than just ancient islanders with exceptional engineering skills? Could they have been a part of a much larger, spiritually advanced civilization that shared knowledge and wisdom across the globe? The legends of Nan Madol offer a glimpse into the nature of its builders. According to local lore, the city was constructed by a race of people known as the Saudeleurs, who were believed to have come from a distant land. Some versions of the legend describe them as supernatural beings, gods or demigods, who had the ability to manipulate the forces of nature and channel powerful energies. These beings, in their otherworldly wisdom, are said to have established Nan Madol as a sacred center, a place where both spiritual and earthly energies converged. But the mystery deepens when we ask, were the Saudeleurs truly divine? Or were they humans who had access to forgotten knowledge that allowed them to build the city and harness the forces of nature in ways that modern science can only dream of? Could these people have been the remnants of an ancient civilization that predated recorded history? A civilization that had a deep understanding of the energetic currents of the earth and whose technology was aligned with the frequencies of the universe. It is important to note that the builders of Nan Madol were not only skilled in engineering, they were also spiritually attuned. The very design of Nan Madol suggests a profound connection to the earth, the water, and the cosmos. The way the stones were placed, the intricate network of canals, and the alignment of the city's structures all point to a deep understanding of sacred geometry and energetic resonance. Could it be that the Saudeleurs were not just architects and builders, but spiritual masters who used the very laws of nature to create a living, breathing city? In many ancient cultures, there is a recurring theme of divine or semi-divine beings descending from the heavens or from other worlds to bestow knowledge upon humanity. These beings are often credited with teaching mankind the arts of agriculture, astronomy, and architecture. The Saudeleurs could very well have been part of this archetype beings who arrived on Earth with the wisdom of the stars, with knowledge passed down through eons, and who used that wisdom to construct a city that harmonized with the forces of nature. The possibility that the people of Nan Madol were guided by celestial knowledge is not as far-fetched as it may seem. The idea of celestial guidance is also supported by the layout of Nan Madol. The city's alignment with the stars and the patterns found within its design suggest that it was constructed with a cosmic purpose in mind. It is as though the city itself was a reflection of the heavens, a microcosm of the larger universe. This alignment indicates that the builders of Nan Madol were not merely concerned with creating a place to live, but with creating a spiritual nexus, a point where the earth and the cosmos met. The Saudeleurs, if they were indeed the architects, may have viewed themselves not just as human beings, but as intermediaries between the divine and the material worlds. But if the builders of Nan Madol were indeed spiritual masters, why did they construct such a city in the first place? What was the purpose behind their monumental work? The answer may lie in the idea that Nan Madol was not just a city, it was a temple, a sacred site designed to channel and amplify spiritual energy. The builders may have seen the city as a tool for enlightenment, a place where individuals could come to connect with the divine, to access higher states of consciousness, and to align with the cosmic forces of the universe. It is possible that Nan Madol was meant to be a portal, a gateway through which the inhabitants could access deeper layers of reality, expanding their consciousness and harmonizing their spirits with the earth and the stars. Yet the true purpose of Nan Madol may have been lost to time. The city's fall into obscurity, its abandonment, and the eventual erasure of its history by external forces have left us with only fragments of its original meaning. What we are left with today are ruins, a city of stones and water, abandoned by its creators and forgotten by the world. But perhaps this is not the end of the story. Perhaps the story of Nan Madol is not one of destruction, but of preservation. The city, after all, has endured the ravages of time, standing resilient against the forces that sought to erase it. When we look at Nan Madol, we see a city of stone, water, and intricate design, the place of mystery that beckons us to go deeper. But what if Nan Madol was not merely a physical city? What if it was a living temple, an energetic structure carefully crafted to connect the spiritual and physical realms? What if the stones, the waterways, and the very layout of the city were designed not only to house people, but to tune them into higher frequencies that could elevate their consciousness, heal their spirits, and align them with the cosmic order? To understand the spiritual significance of Nan Madol, we must first acknowledge that ancient civilizations did not view their creations as isolated physical structures. The temples, cities, and sacred sites they built were not just functional, they were intended to be in alignment with the natural and spiritual forces of the universe. The cities they constructed were meant to be sacred geometry in motion, a manifestation of universal principles that connected the material and the spiritual. This concept of sacred geometry, the idea that certain shapes and patterns hold intrinsic spiritual power, is fundamental to understanding Nan Madol. The architecture of the city is not arbitrary. It is a carefully designed blueprint that mirrors the sacred structures found throughout ancient cultures around the world. From the pyramids of Egypt to the temples of ancient Greece, from the stone circles of the British Isles to the sacred temples of India, the same underlying principles of sacred geometry are present. These ancient sites were built using specific proportions and alignments that correspond to the natural energies of the earth and the cosmos. Nan Madol, with its network of interconnected islands and waterways, its perfectly cut stones, and its precise alignments, fits squarely within this tradition of sacred architecture. The city's layout is not just a practical arrangement of buildings, it is a map of the cosmos itself. It is as if the builders of Nan Madol were creating a physical manifestation of the spiritual laws that govern the universe. The stones, placed with exacting precision, may have been designed to channel energy, amplifying certain frequencies that resonate with the earth and the stars. One of the key elements in understanding Nan Madol's spiritual significance is the role of vibration and frequency. In many ancient cultures, sound and vibration were believed to be the fundamental building blocks of reality. The idea that everything in the universe is vibrating at a specific frequency is a concept that is only now being recognized by modern science. In ancient times, however, this knowledge was deeply understood and woven into the very fabric of their spiritual practices. In Nan Madol, The stone blocks themselves may have been used as amplifiers of sound and energy, much like the obelisks of ancient Egypt or the pyramids of Giza, which were believed to resonate with the Earth's natural frequencies. These stones were not simply construction materials. They may have been tuned to certain vibrational frequencies that aligned with the natural forces of the Earth and the cosmos. The sound that emanated from these stones, the harmonics of the city, would have created a unique energy field zone that could have been used for spiritual healing, transformation, and awakening. The canals of Nan Madol, winding through the islands and connecting the different structures, also carry a profound spiritual significance. Water has always been viewed as a conduit for spiritual energy. In many cultures, water is seen as the medium through which the divine can enter the physical world. In the case of Nan Madol, the waterways may have been designed to channel spiritual energy, directing it through the city, amplifying it, and creating a flow of divine resonance that could have heightened the consciousness of those who lived there. It's not just the physical layout of the city that holds spiritual significance, it's the way the energy would have been experienced by those who walked its pathways. Imagine a person entering the city, walking along the stone causeways, surrounded by the hum of energetic vibrations and the flow of water. As they moved through Nan Madol, they would have been immersed in a space where the physical and spiritual realms intertwined. Every step taken would have aligned them with the natural frequencies of the earth. Each breath would have been an opportunity to tune into the energy that flowed through the city. The very design of Nan Madol may have been intended to facilitate spiritual awakening, guiding those who entered it into a state of heightened awareness, attuned to the cosmos. What happened to Nan Madol? How did such an advanced, seemingly perfect civilization with its spiritual temples, harmonious design, and energetic architecture fall into ruin? The city stands today as a silent monument to something lost, its once great structures now in decay, overtaken by the relentless forces of nature. But the physical collapse of Nan Madol might not be the true story behind its downfall. What if the city's fall was not the result of natural disasters, as some suggest, but of something far deeper, a spiritual and energetic imbalance that slowly, over time, eroded the foundation of the civilization that built it? To understand the fall of Nan Madol, we must first acknowledge the unique nature of this city. It was not just a place built to serve physical needs, it was an energetic structure, a sacred site that existed to connect the spiritual and material realms. Its purpose was to align with cosmic forces, to harmonize the inhabitants with the frequencies of the earth and the stars. So, what happens when that alignment is broken? When the wisdom that once guided the city's creation is corrupted or forgotten? The fall of Nan Madol, like the fall of Atlantis, may have been the result of a profound shift in the collective consciousness of its people. The ancient wisdom that once guided them, the understanding of sacred geometry, energy, and cosmic alignment, may have become distorted. The very technologies that were meant to elevate their consciousness and connect them with the divine may have been misused, manipulated for personal gain or power. As with other lost civilizations, the imbalance between spiritual enlightenment and material desire could have led to a collapse not of physical structures, but of the spiritual foundation upon which the city was built. The legends surrounding Atlantis tell a similar story, one of a civilization that fell not due to a cataclysmic event, but because of the corruption of its values. In Atlantis, the advanced knowledge of the Atlanteans, their ability to harness energy, sound, and frequency, was once used for healing and spiritual awakening. But as ego and material desire took root, that knowledge was corrupted. It was no longer used to elevate humanity, but to control and dominate. And in the end, it was this imbalance this misuse of power that led to the civilization's downfall. Could the same fate have befallen Nan Madol? The city was built upon a foundation of sacred knowledge and energetic alignment. But over time, as the inhabitants of Pompeii drifted further from the wisdom that once guided them, the very energy of Nan Madol may have become destabilized. What was once a harmonious, energetic center may have slowly decayed into an imbalanced state where material desires, pride, and ego overtook spiritual virtue. The rise of greed and materialism in any society leads to imbalance, and in the case of Nan Madol, this imbalance may have affected the very energetic grid upon which the city was built. The stones that once acted as amplifiers of divine energy may have begun to resonate with negative frequencies, and the sacred waterways that were meant to channel spiritual energy may have been polluted by human desire. As with other ancient cities, the loss of spiritual integrity might have led to a breakdown in the energetic forces that sustained the city, causing it to fall into disrepair and eventually abandonment. But perhaps the collapse of Nan Madol was not just a failure of its inhabitants. Perhaps it was also a message from the cosmos, a reminder that when a civilization forgets its connection to the divine, when it loses sight of the spiritual principles that once guided it, it cannot survive. The very structure of Nan Madol, designed to align with cosmic forces, may have been a reflection of the energetic harmony that existed between the material world and the divine. When that harmony was broken, when the spiritual foundation of the city was abandoned, the very forces that once upheld it could no longer sustain the city's existence. This idea of a collapse due to spiritual imbalance is not unique to Nan Madol. Across the globe, we find similar stories of ancient civilizations that fell not due to physical destruction, but because they lost their spiritual connection. The Mayans, for example, built their cities in harmony with the cycles of the stars, but over time, as their society became more materialistic, they abandoned their spiritual practices. As their spiritual foundation crumbled, so did their civilization. The same story is told in the ancient myths of Egypt, where the wisdom of the pharaohs was said to have been passed down by the gods, only for that wisdom to be forgotten as the pursuit of power and wealth overshadowed spiritual truth. And of course, there is the tale of Atlantis, where the once divine wisdom of the people was corrupted, leading to their ultimate destruction. The mystery of Nan Madol goes far beyond its stone structures and abandoned canals. The city's physical form, though impressive, is only a shell, a mere shadow of the wisdom that once resided within it. As the city falls deeper into the grasp of time, one question persists: what knowledge was hidden within Nan Madol, and why has it remained concealed for so long? The answer may lie not in the ruins themselves, but in the very energy that they once harnessed, an energy that still pulses beneath the surface, waiting to be rediscovered. Ancient cultures around the world, from the Egyptians to the Mayans, understood the power of hidden knowledge. This knowledge, often encoded in sacred geometry, cosmic alignments, and energetic practices, was not meant to be easily accessible. It was preserved for a reason intended for a select few who had the spiritual maturity to understand and apply it. In the case of Nan Madol, this hidden knowledge may have been a deep understanding of energy and frequency tools that could elevate consciousness, heal, and align humanity with the divine forces of the universe. But the question remains, how has this knowledge been preserved? Could it have been passed down through oral traditions, encoded in symbols and myths, or hidden in plain sight? Some suggest that the descendants of the builders of Nan Madol left behind not just physical ruins, but spiritual imprints. These imprints, carried through generations, may have manifested as teachings passed down through esoteric traditions or in the architecture of sacred sites around the world. From the pyramids of Egypt to the stone circles of the British Isles, we find echoes of the same energetic principles that likely governed Nan Madol. The key to rediscovering this knowledge lies not in searching for more physical artifacts, but in reawakening the dormant frequencies embedded in the earth and in human consciousness. The very stones of Nan Madol may still hold the imprint of the wisdom that once radiated from the city. Just as certain sacred sites are believed to hold energetic keys, so too might Nan Madol offer us the opportunity to reconnect with ancient wisdom. What is fascinating is that the principles that govern Nan Madol may not be lost at all. They are simply awaiting our recognition. In recent years, spiritual awakenings and shifts in global consciousness have begun to align with the kind of energy that Nan Madol once amplified. As humanity increasingly turns its attention to holistic health, energy healing, and spiritual awakening, there is a growing sense that we are starting to reconnect with the same wisdom that the people of Nan Madol once held. We are remembering how to work with energy, how to align with the frequencies of the earth and the cosmos, and how to live in harmony with the spiritual forces that guide us. One of the most significant aspects of this rediscovery is the concept of frequency. In Nan Madol, the massive stone blocks may have been tuned to specific vibrations, amplifying certain energetic frequencies. Modern science is beginning to catch up with this ancient wisdom, as we now know that everything in the universe is vibrating at a particular frequency from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy. This understanding of vibration and frequency can be applied in many areas of life, from healing practices using sound and light to creating technologies that align with the natural energies of the earth. The rediscovery of these principles could lead to a profound shift in our understanding of reality and our place in the cosmos. But why then has this knowledge been hidden for so long? The answer may lie in the very nature of power. Knowledge like that of Nan Madol, which allows individuals to align with the natural forces of the universe and harness the power of creation, is dangerous in the wrong hands. Throughout history, those in power have sought to control this knowledge, suppressing it to maintain the status quo. Just as ancient wisdom was hidden by the elite in Egypt, Greece, and Rome, so too has the true purpose of places like Nan Madol been obscured. However, there is a growing movement today, collective awakening that is beginning to break through the walls of suppression and rediscover the hidden knowledge of the ancients. This awakening is not just an intellectual exercise, it is a spiritual reawakening. As individuals begin to reconnect with the frequencies that govern life, they are starting to experience deeper states of consciousness, intuitive insights, and a profound sense of unity with the earth and the cosmos. This shift is not isolated to a small group of people, but is happening on a global scale. As more people begin to resonate with these ancient frequencies, the wisdom of Nan Madol, Atlantis, and other lost civilizations will begin to come back into focus. The story of Nan Madol is not just a tale of an ancient city, it is a story of awakening, of remembering the lost knowledge that once connected humanity to the divine forces of the universe. As we have explored the depths of this mystery, one truth becomes clear. The wisdom of Nan Madol was not meant to remain buried forever. It is waiting for those who are ready to remember, to rediscover the ancient teachings that can guide us toward a future of spiritual enlightenment and harmony. We stand at a pivotal moment in history, a time when the veil between the material and spiritual worlds is beginning to thin. Across the globe, people are awakening to a deeper sense of truth, a realization that there is more to life than the physical world around us. This awakening is not about new information. It is about remembering what was once known, what was once forgotten. It is about reconnecting to the ancient wisdom that has always been within us, waiting to be unlocked. Nan Madol was not just a city, it was a temple, a place where the physical and spiritual realms were meant to align. Its architecture, its layout, its very essence were designed to amplify the frequencies that harmonize with the natural world and the cosmos. But this wisdom was not meant to remain hidden in the ruins of a long-lost civilization. It was meant to be rediscovered, not in the stones and canals, but within each of us. The knowledge of Nan Madol is encoded in our DNA, in our memories, in the very fabric of the universe. It is a frequency that resonates deep within our souls, waiting to be awakened. The wisdom of the ancients is not something external, something to be studied from a distance. It is something that lives inside us, as it always has. The builders of Nan Madol, with their deep understanding of energy, sacred geometry, and cosmic alignment, left us a legacy blueprint for how we can live in harmony with the natural forces of the earth and the stars. But in order to reconnect with this wisdom, we must make a choice. We must choose to remember. In a world dominated by distractions, by noise, by the constant pull of external forces, it is easy to forget who we truly are. But the time has come to stop looking outside for answers and start looking within. The wisdom of Nan Madol is not a relic of the past, it is a living, breathing energy that is available to all of us if we are willing to listen. The first step in this process is awareness. Just as Nan Madol was designed to align with the natural energies of the earth, so too must we learn to align with our own inner energies. By cultivating stillness, by tuning into the rhythms of our bodies, and by quieting the noise of the modern world, we can begin to reconnect with the ancient frequencies that once guided the people of Nan Madol. The city was a physical manifestation of a higher state of consciousness, a consciousness that we too can access. In our modern world, we are surrounded by distraction screens, news, schedules, and obligations that keep us from listening to our inner wisdom. But as we begin to remember the teachings of Nan Madol, we start to see that true power does not lie in external achievements or material accumulation. True power lies in alignment, aligning our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions with the divine forces that govern the universe. This is the true legacy of Nan Madol, the understanding that we are not separate from the universe, but an integral part of it. The wisdom of Nan Madol also teaches us the importance of balance. Just as the city was built to harmonize with the natural frequencies of the earth, we too must learn to balance the spiritual and material aspects of our lives. In our modern world, we have become disconnected from nature, from our own bodies, and from the spiritual forces that guide us. But by rediscovering the wisdom of ancient sites like Nan Madol, we can learn to bring balance back into our lives. We can begin to see that true fulfillment comes not from external success, but from living in harmony with the forces that sustain us. So, how do we begin to reconnect with this ancient wisdom? The path is simple, but not always easy. It requires a willingness to listen, to quiet the mind, and to attune ourselves to the frequencies of the earth and the cosmos. It requires a commitment to spiritual growth, to exploring the depths of our consciousness and rediscovering the power that lies dormant within us. It also requires a community of like-minded individuals, people who are on the same journey of remembrance, who can support and inspire one another as they walk the path of awakening. The time has come for us to remember who we truly are. We are not powerless. We are not disconnected from the divine. The energy of Nan Madol, the wisdom of the ancients, is still available to us, waiting to be unlocked. All we need to do is choose to remember.